So, first, as every thematic working group, I will present the team. We were around 12 persons, mainly from producer side. However, I was happy enough to have one person coming from the user side, very precious, and also someone coming from standardization body, from OGC, someone involved in CTGML standard. Very useful also to develop this specification for buildings. So some words also about our work. We have discussed a lot our model during 41 teleconf, during 7 meetings, and more important, we have not worked in isolation. We have tried to involve stakeholders by a big investigation about use case. We have a questionnaire checklist with more than 19 persons in different fields of use case about air quality, noise, risk, spatial planning, location for a new public service, and this kind of use case. We have also had meetings either as a whole group or as some members of the thematic working group, for instance with other InSPI teams during cross-team meeting, with the Council of European Geodetic Surveyors, some exchange about official area. About OGC with CTGML, we have also some exchange with them. We have also exchange with main producers, PCC for cadastral organization, Eurogeographics. We had a meeting also with EEA, European Environmental Agency. We had a workshop also with NERA, which is a project about earthquake. And of course, we were often solicited to give information in our own member state for national SDI. So we had a lot of exchange with other bodies. So now the scope of SIM building. If we come from the definition in the directive, it's quite blurry and it doesn't help a lot. It just says geographical location of buildings. So from the beginning, we have wondered how wide the scope should be. Are buildings everything that is built, or are buildings things with roofs and walls, more classical buildings? Our choice was to have a rather wide definition, but we have tried to make it a modular scope to give priorities. So what is the first priority? What shall be in InSPI? In our point of view, it's what I have called conventional buildings. It's the buildings where people spend their time when they work, when they live, when they go shopping or things like this. Because they are required, for instance, for reporting to environmental directive, the buildings submitted to noise, to bad air quality and things like this. The other kind of buildings that is of key importance is the specific significant buildings that are used for mappings. For instance, each kind of elevated buildings that may be valuable landmarks, for instance, for air traffic or marine navigation, that are international use case. The second round, the second level, is what should be in InSPI. For instance, I will say ancillary buildings, smaller buildings. Of course, they are not so needed, but they contribute, for instance, to land use, land cover phenomena. They may contribute, for instance, to make the soil waterproof, what is not a good thing. What I have called non-conventional buildings, for instance, buildings only partly built, such as cave buildings, or buildings are supposed to be perennial, but sometimes there are some buildings such as mobile homes or slums that are supposed to be there only for a few time, and unfortunately they may be used for a long time, and they are needed also for many environmental studies, because these people need also to be protected from risk and from pollution. And we have also considered in the scope of the theme some other construction, and mainly once again this elevated construction that may be valuable landmarks in an infrastructure, or also some environmental barriers that are also of interest to mitigate risk or to be risk in case of risk. For instance, a swimming pool, an open swimming pool may be used in case of fire. It's important to know where they are. And the last one is what might be in INSPIRE. It may be any type of very small building construction, such as urban furniture, small rural patrimony, statues, and things like this. What is the point about having a modular scope? Maybe if you are a data producer, you have the same wide view as us on the scope of building and everything in the same feature type, or at least in the same database. For you, it will be easy to provide everything for INSPIRE. Don't ask. But maybe you have a narrower view on what should be a building, and in your country the buildings and the construction and these small things are in different feature types, in different databases, maybe among different data producers, and in this case it may be more difficult to make everything conform to INSPIRE. So in this case, focus on the core scope. From the investigation of the use cases, we have collected a wide collection of requirements. What is in bright as a feature type, what is in more clear color as the attributes. And from the beginning, it was obvious that we could not mandate each of this information to be in the implementing rule. So we decided to have different profiles of our model, and in fact, what is in green was considered as the most valuable information and maybe also the most achievable information. So data widely or strongly required, data that is generally available, and data whose harmonization is considered as relevant or feasible at European level. So this green information, we have collected most of it in what we called a base package. This base package is mainly two feature types, abstract construction and abstract building. It's just to gather the common semantic. In this common semantic, we have, as every thematic working group, or almost, temporal attributes in the database. We have temporal attributes in real world, such as the year of construction of the building, the year of demolition, if any, and things like this. We have also some attributes such as elevation, external reference. For instance, you can have the reference to another information system, for instance, the cadastral system to find the owner, the tenant, and a lot of other information. And we have also some classification of the building. Typically, a classification according to the use, and a classification according to the nature that is more the physical aspect of the building. About the current use, we have a code list that is a hierarchical code list, so you can match at the higher level, residential, agriculture, industrial, commerce and service, or you can match also at a smaller level, more detailed levels. This code list is rather detailed regarding residential, but it's not so detailed regarding agriculture, because we expect that more information may be found in agricultural facilities. It's not so detailed neither in industrial, because we expect that more detailed information will be in production facilities. And it's not detailed about public services, because we expect that there will be more details in governmental services. However, it's a part that was poorly tested, and at the end of the process we are not quite sure that the things will be connected as we expected. So it's probably something that will have to be monitored and maybe improved in future. So now, one of our main concepts that is coming from CityGML, building and building part. A building may exist by itself, if it's a very simple single building, or it may be composed of building parts, for instance, because there are parts having different heights, or parts having different use. In this photo, for instance, there is a residential use and maybe an agricultural use. And these buildings may be represented as 2D data. When I say 2D data, it means 2D or 2.5D data. And it's why we have a profile that we have called Core 2D profile. It inherits from the common semantic of base package, and it's a very simple one. We have just a 2D geometry. There is possibility to have multiple geometries and two feature type, building and building part. But from the same slide, it's also possible to have the building represented with 3D data, which means in volume. And this 3D representation may have different level of details. Typically, it's a very simple way to represent 3D data just as shoe blocks, as blocks. It's level of detail 1 in CityGML, or it may be more detailed, as in this illustration. And in our model, we have the Core 3D profile. It's more or less similar to the Core 2D profile. It inherits of the common semantics of base package, of the attribute are already shown, and the 4 levels of details of CityGML are allowed. Moreover, it's possible to provide the 2D geometry in this profile. So this was for our core profiles, but we collected a lot of other user requirements that we introduced in extended profiles. What can be found in these extended profiles? It's more attributes. Typically, we can have connection to utility networks, to gas, to electricity, to sewage, to water. We can have some information about heating, because it was a very important use case for buildings, about energy performance, heating source, heating system. We have also additional attributes regarding the physical description of the building, for instance, the description of the underground, the description of material of roof, material of facade, material of structure, the kind of roof, a more detailed description of the floors. And we have also some official information, such as the official value, the official area, the address, and we have also the possibility to link with documents. For instance, images of buildings, sketch of buildings, building permit, any kind of document related to the building. So what do we have also in our extended profile? So in core profile, 2 feature type, building and building part. What we have more in the extension, we have other construction, for instance, bridges, pylons, solar panels, things like this. We have installation, so they are construction, I will say, attached to the building. The other construction are self-standing construction, and installation are attached, serving the buildings. For instance, chimneys, wind turbines, stairs. We have focused really on the installations that were useful for mainly safety and also for environment, energy, things like this. And we have building unit, if they want to come. A building unit is a part of the building that is homogeneous for management. Typically, it's a flat in a condominium. It's the best example to illustrate what is a building unit. So, for ownership. So, this makes our extended 2D profile. And we have more. In our extended 3D profile, we have level 2 of CityGML that is composed of the installation, but also of the boundary surfaces, for instance, the walls, the roof, the ground. We have the level 3 of CityGML that is about the openings, the doors, the windows. And we have even the level 4 of CityGML, that is the interior of the building, for instance, the description of room or of internal installations, such as elevators, stairs, and things like this. So and we have also the possibility to attach texture. So, for instance, real images or prototype images of how the facade or the roof look like. And it's something very useful, especially for projects with new infrastructure. It's very useful for deciders, for citizens. They can really understand how the new infrastructure will look like in its environment. And all of this makes our extended 3D profile. So, some conclusions. We have 5 application schemas with a base package for the common semantic, a core 2D for the 2D representation of buildings, a core 3D for the 3D representation of the buildings with the basic common semantic that is in the base package. We have an extended 2D profile. We have an extended 3D profile. We have also a rich Annex B about the use case because we got many use cases. So the result is a very big document, more than 200 pages, but I think less than soil. So it may be quite a frightening document, but I will say don't be so frightened. First reason is that there is not only text, but there are also illustrations, and not only UML schemas, but also illustration of real-world buildings. Especially we thought it was important because we are in a multilingual context, and sometimes you get more easily what we want by seeing an illustration than by reading text. And even for us, it was quite useful to illustrate our concept. And also something I would like to point, our document may look big, but it is modular. For instance, we had a lot of discussion if we should have an integrated model between 2D and 3D data, and maybe the document would have looked more compact. But we were afraid it was not so easy to be used, because most software can deal with 2D data and not with 3D data. And if we mixed everything in a single profile, we were afraid that maybe software were not able to receive an integrated model with 2D and 3D concepts. So it's why we prefer to have something more modular, even if the document is bigger. And the last excuse I have found to have such big document to contribute so much to the InSpy monster described by Hugo de Groove is this. Sometimes also real life is not so simple. And for those who are more interested and more passionate in buildings, there will be 2 other presentations about buildings. One of the thematic working group will give an example about how they have implemented, at least try to implement InSpy specification in Spanish cadastre. And tomorrow I will give a presentation about how we have tried to find the right balance between flexibility and harmonization for our theme, because it was a challenge of most of InSpy specification. So thanks for your attention.